Hi everyone, you're watching Good for the Game TV. It's Thursday night, it's 9 o'clock. That means it's time for the Handicap rugby chat that matters. We're here to talk rugby, we're here to talk betting. The Currie Cup may be over, but we've got international rugby to look forward to this weekend. There's also some European club competition as well. Not sure how much time we're going to have to chat about that. And as usual, I've assembled a top-class panel to take us through the weekend's odds. And on my far right-hand side, as I'm looking at the screen at the moment, let me start with a first-timer. We've been trying to get him on the show for a long time, and we finally got him up to speed, technologically-wise at any rate. And on the Good for the Game forum, he's been known for years as Rugger Bugger. He's a man who loves his sevens rugby, but he really loves punting of all sorts. And Sean Nicholas, very good to have you on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I finally figured out how this works. I was worried you weren't going to send me the link, but all good. Nice to be here.
Well, those who watch the GG Gaming Gone Mad show will know that I battled to get Gary on the show through no other fault than my email, which wouldn't go through. And I had exactly the same problem on this show. Thank goodness for Twitter. I managed to send the links through. And let's go down to Cape Town now, where we've got Hendrik Swart joining us. Hendrik, like me, I'm sure very disappointed at Western Province last week.
Hi, Brent. Yeah, it was disappointing. I expected better from them. I thought the Bulls semi-final was a once-off and it would have been a wake-up call for Western Province. But yeah, the Sharks, they were full value. They thoroughly deserved to win. Yeah, I took a bit of smack on the game, but yeah, we move on. Luckily, Western Province made me a few rounds through the season. Yeah, and I'll take the final on the chin.
Yeah, certainly you can't complain about how Province have treated you this season. And as punters, we have to learn to take the good with the bad. Some weeks you just you're not going to win them all. And we'll bring Oracle Rugby on now from Durban. But Oracle, I know you were a lot happier with that Currie Cup final because you were on the Sharks. Am I right in saying you backed them to win the game?
100%, Brent. Yep, I took my wife and kids shopping on Sunday morning. They bought all sorts of stuff. Loved it. Still got some money in the bank afterwards. It was a great win for me. I took a little bit of +8.5 at halftime. I tell you, I sat with my mouse over the 3.3, the 33 to 10 available to win the game at halftime. I didn't hit the submit button. I'm kicking myself. Yeah, I just took the +8.5. I took the 22 to 10 at GG. I also took some 2 to 1 when it shortened in a bit. Yeah, I climbed in and I had a proper bet and it was a big win for me. Very nice.
Sean, what interest did you have in the Currie Cup? I know quite a few of the guys on the forum were on the Sharks from early on in the season. Did you have an outright interest or did you just get involved in the game itself?
No, I was on in the final on Province, and the same thing happened to me last year when Sharks played Province. In Durban, I was on the Sharks, and then Province go and beat them, and then history lightning strikes again. But luckily it was a small one. When I knew Oracle was on the Sharks, I thought, let me just take it easier. Like his kids got to eat, so let me just
His kids got to eat, that's for sure. Yeah, I must say, there was a point where Province it was the furthest they got in front. They were 6-0 ahead. And I was thinking to myself, just the way the Sharks were playing at that stage. We had Couch Critic on our WhatsApp sort of taunting us almost, Henrik. It was like, but it's true. The Sharks were sort of playing well. And I was thinking, do I take cover? Do I take cover? But of course, I decided to sit tight. And, well, I paid the price. But, boys, we've got a big weekend of rugby coming up. And let's start with the biggest game of all, certainly from a South African fan perspective. And that's England against South Africa at Twickenham. And I'm going to start off with Oracle here down in Durbs. Gavin, I haven't had a chance to watch your video yet. What have you gone for here? I'm suspecting you're going for the box.
Yeah, Brent, I've gone for the box. I got some 13 to 10. Not quite 5 units. I'm 4 units on it. I must be honest, Brent, I was very surprised when I saw that England were favourites here. That did take me by surprise. So I didn't take the 15 or 16 to 10 that was available on Monday or Tuesday. I waited a little bit. I thought about it a little bit more properly, and eventually I had my go. So, yeah, look, I'm battling to understand why England are favourites. They've had such a horrible year. They're down there in the ditch with the Australians, who also had a horrible year. And South Africa, for me, the biggest factor here is the 0-point difference with a 0-point difference with New Zealand. Winning by 2 over there, losing by 2 over here. We have a year where we get that close off a 22 and an 11-point handicap. Yeah, I don't know. I think the value is definitely with South Africa. We've had a good run at Twickenham. I was at the 2012 game. I know we had a bad game in 2014, I think it was, or 2016. Other than that, we've done very well over there. And, I think South Africa won this game. In fact, I think South Africa will win this game by more than 10.
Well, that's a typical Oracle-type statement to start the show. And, Sean, I see you nodding there. Are you nodding as if to say, well, that's the Oracle again, or are you agreeing with him?
No, I could, if there's, I think we should have the next GG Gone Mad. We should decide what go for what the Oracle's going to take next week. And the person that's closest to what he says, they should win a prize. But I think everyone was going to know that he was going to take South Africa. For me, it's probably the toughest one of the weekend. It's a 50-50 for me, but I don't, with Faf gone, Willie gone, it loses a bit of our shine. England, their backs are against the wall, but they are at home. The conditions are going to be more like they were at Newlands than we have been playing New Zealand. So conditions in their favour, their home advantage, they get the nod for me. So I think it's going to be close. I think it's a try score difference, but I think England will win it.
England will win it. Well, GG Gaming, Gary was saying they got the best price around at the moment. England straight to win at 8-10. I see Henrik nodding his head. Is that about the best available England at the moment, Henrik?
That is the best available, Brent. For them to win the game, 8-10 is the best. Yeah, I just hope Oracle hasn't thrown away the receipts of his shopping from last weekend. I think he might be taking some of it back on Sunday. I can't believe I'm getting 8-10 on England playing at Twickenham. Mate. That's brilliant value. For me, he speaks about value on the box. I can't believe I'm getting 8-10 on England. For me, that's great value at Twickenham. The box, they're going to miss Faf, they're going to miss Willie, they're going to miss Mustard as well. The scrum should be good, but not England. They've got a lot of injuries, but I don't think they have a bad team. I watched it. I saw the team that was announced today, and I'm quite happy with the England team. Eddie Jones is a very good coach. He's just like Fox, and I think he will come up with some tricks. He said earlier in the week it's easy to beat the box. That's a classic Eddie Jones saying it's easy to beat the box. It's trying to distract the journalists and take the away from his team, the attention. Yeah, and the two tests they lost in South Africa, both at altitude, they started well and then they faded. So I think England should win. Yeah, I will also take a bit of England 1-12. I don't think they'll run away with it, but I think England 1-12 and England 8-10. It's a very good bet.
Yeah, I must say I'm leaning with you there on England at 8-10. Just to bring Sean in here, the 1-12 margin bet, Sean, it's quite popular with these sort of international programs because they are the sort of games where you don't really expect either side to run away with it.
Yeah, I think 1-12 on England, if you're going, I think that's the value play. You're probably going to get about 15, 16-10. It gives you effectively South Africa plus 12.5, which is good value as well. No one's going to run away with it. So I think England 1-10. That's if I had to choose one for this game, I'd probably take that.
Yeah, you'll get about 16-10 on that bet. Gavin, anything else appeal to you on the betting front here? Weather conditions, I believe, going to be very cold. Would you be looking at this being a low-scoring tight game, or are we going to see points?
Brent, if you saw the picks that the guys went on the GG Gone Mad show a little bit earlier, I went South Africa and I went 41, and I see there was a guy that jumped in at 42 to grab anything above that. Very clever play there. Sorry, I've forgotten his name. I'm expecting quite a close game. Yeah, look, I think Sean and you are right. If you're going to go for England, go for the 1-12. I think you'll get a better price than the 8-10 to win the game. If England do win this game, I honestly can't see them winning it by more than 10 or 12. So I'm 100% with Sean. So if you are an England punter here, the 1-12 would definitely get my vote. Although I do think you're going to lose either of them anyway. So. Yeah, look, I don't think it'll be a lot of points. I think it's going to be something like, 18-12 or 22-14 or something like that. I don't know, or 22-10. I don't think England are going to score much more than 10. I think South Africa would battle to score more than 20. Yeah, so 30, 35, 40 points. 41, I've got everything under that. So no one went lower than me.
Right, Henrik, what do you think from a points perspective here?
I don't think it will be that low. The Boks have leaked a bit this year. England leaked against us over here. I think mid-40s, between 45 and 50, I think about there. Yeah, not under 40.
Not under 40. Yeah, I think we might get a bit of points. I did see cold weather, but as long as there's no real rain about them, then I think we'll get a few points. Twickenham surface normally holds up well as well.
Yeah. And it's Angus Gardner, the referee. I label him as an overs ref as well. So, yeah, there should be a few points.
That's it, yeah. Always good to watch the refs. Although, Henrik, I'm sure you'll agree with me, we expected a different sort of game. It wasn't really his fault, but the Currie Cup final, I thought we'd see a lot more action. And And we saw scrum after scrum, with Piper.
Piper. I expected more points with Piper, the ref, but I think both teams, they concentrated heavily on defense in the final, so I don't think it was Piper's fault. But I agree, I expected more points as well.
Right, well, let's have a look at some of the other games taking place this week. The first one we come to, there's been quite a lot of action, and that's Japan up against New Zealand. The handicap seems to have settled around 33.5, 34.5 now. But Henrik, I'll stay with you first up because I've got a feeling you were one of the first guys involved in this game. You took some plus 36.5 Japan, if I'm not mistaken, early in the week.
That's correct, Brent. I went quite big here. I'm sure Oracle's going to remind us you can't go big against New Zealand. But I think this handicap is at least 10 points too high. And even if he says, there's no such thing as a bad New Zealand team, this isn't second string, it's full-on second string. It's not even the reserves of the first team isn't even there. It's a lot of untested combinations, and it's one thing saying they want to impress for World Cup spots, but it's another thing putting that into a team performance. So I think they might struggle a bit with cohesion, and I think I've taken a solid bet on the plus 36.5.
And if you bet money wasn't down, would you still be going on the plus 34.5?
Yes, definitely. As I say, I think the 36.5 was about 10 points too high, so I'll definitely take anything 30 and up.
Right, well, let's see if Sean Nicholas is big on Japan this week, like he was last week against the World 15.
Yeah, definitely. I think you still get 37 at Hollywood, I think, which is that's great for me. I think, as Henrik said, it's a B team of New Zealand. It's a lot of untested combos. Dan Coles is back at hooker, but he hasn't played for a year. It's my main thing on this is that Japan, you can't thrash Japan before the World Cup, and I think a little bit of conspiracy theory as well is that they're not going to lose by 40 points before the World Cup. That's just not going to happen. We saw it in the World 15; they were 31-7 down with half an hour to go, and then miraculously come back, lose by 2 points or 3 points, whatever it was. So that's all. That's my leading me over the edge, but it's not a massive bet. It's just a firm belief that Japan will stay within 37.
It's interesting because I wanted to actually raise that with you, Sean, because I've seen comments like that, and I think probably coming from the likes of yourself in the forum, and it sort of rings true with me as well. You think to yourself, it wouldn't do Japan much good to get hammered by 50 points. But of course, the other side of the coin is, realistically, there can't really be any fiddling there, other than perhaps maybe New Zealand are putting out a second string team. We know they're planning for bigger games, but the fact that they're putting a second string team out means they're unlikely to do it. But you do get that feeling that Japan shouldn't lose by much. But at the same time, I don't really think there's anyone who's orchestrating this. No,
I don't think that. I just think that they, or let's put it differently, they are up for it. like every game's a final up to the World Cup.
Okay.
So, and New Zealand, it's the start of their end of year tour. It's the B side that didn't even make it to Europe, so they're not going to want to get injured. They're not playing for the same things that Japan are playing for. Japan are they're playing for themselves. They brave blossom. They're getting the whole feeling going in the country. So there's more vibe, more atmosphere. It's just more going for them into this match than a second string New Zealand team that just if they win by 30 points, no one's going to say anything. If they win by 3 points, no one will say anything. They expect it to win, and it'll be nerve-wracking to watch, I'm sure. But I'd still go with a plus 37.
I must say, nice explanation, because I hadn't thought of it that way, but you're quite right, and it sort of puts those comments nicely into perspective. Well, we haven't heard from the Oracle for a few minutes. Japan, are you on the Japanese this week, Gavin?
I am, and I'm going to firstly just reply to Henrik and say, there is no such thing as a second B team New Zealand. We all know that. We can joke about it, but the reality is last year they played this fixture. They played against Australia, and if you guys remember, I think the handicap was around about 27 or 28. I had a massive punt. I think it was a 5-uniter. It wasn't on TV, and I ended up getting in touch with a guy called Jeff Lemon on Twitter. He was one of the commentators. He's a cricket commentator. I met him in Durban for a beer, and he was a fantastic guy. And anyway, he kept us going. And SuperSport didn't show us the game for some reason. And what worried me here was in this particular fixture is not so much whether New Zealand will score a lot of points. It's more about how many points Japan will score. That game in 1995, which was obviously the start of the professional era, they got done 145, but they scored 17, and that, as it happens, out of the 5 times they played New Zealand, is the most points they've ever scored. So, Gigi gone mad had that little promotion a little bit earlier saying you got to pick the first try scorer in the New Zealand game as well as the Japanese game. And you sit here thinking, geez, are they actually going to score a try against these guys? Look, I am on the plus here. I managed to get even money at plus 35.5. But I got to tell you, it's a very small bet, Brent. And it's only because I'm very scared that they don't score more than 10 and New Zealand score 45 or 50. And I'm also with Sean here. I think not so much match fixing, but more sympathy or empathy. New Zealand will get 45 or 50 points up early, and they turn around and say, geez, we don't want to hammer these guys. We are coming back next year. We want them to like us. I don't know. There's all this sort of stuff we're raging around in my head. So, yeah, I'm on the plus, but it's a very small bet. And if I lose, I lose. And if I win, maybe I'll have a small breakfast or something. But it's not a lot of money for me.
Yeah, I must say, just to wrap up my thoughts on this game, I am on Japan Plus as well. I'm not on yet, but I'll probably be getting involved. Certainly if there's 37.5 still at Hollywood, that sounds like a good prospect on the Japanese. But not a game I'll be getting too involved in. I am traveling on a cricket tour with my son this weekend, so I won't be watching quite as much rugby as I would like to. That brings us to the next game then, which is Wales up against Scotland. That's taking place at the Principality Stadium in Wales. And just having a look at the handicap here, and I'll start with you here, Gavin. We've had 6.5 points, very stable all week. Clearly the bookmakers have got this cap about right.
Brent, I got to tell you straight up, I'm not touching that game. I'm also not getting involved in the Italy-Ireland one. I don't believe these are proper international rugby matches. I think these are friendlies. Really friendlies. I think they're going to be testing all sorts of different stuff. And honestly, I can't reach my wallet for a game like this. I've got no interest in it. I haven't even looked at the teams. I'm seriously not going to have a bet on either of these two Six Nations friendly games. I don't think they're the wrong combination for all we're doing here. In November, we play North versus South. And in June, we play South versus North. And this is a North-North in November. I'm just not interested. I'm really sorry. I've got nothing to say in either of these two games.
Right, Henrik, 6.5 points. I understand where Gavin's coming from there, but 6.5 points. You've got Wales against Scotland. Wales have got a good record against the Scots at home. And in fact, it was earlier this year, I think, in the Six Nations days, where a lot of people thought Scotland might even win the game. I think it was 34-7 to Wales or something like that.
Yeah, they smashed them in the Six Nations. I've heard a bit of talk about revenge from Scotland. This is a tough one for me, Brent. I've gone from liking Scotland earlier in the week to liking Wales now after I've seen the teams. Wales have picked a pretty solid team, and Scotland, they're missing a few players. They've got a few players coming back as well from injury, I think, but they're also missing a few. And yeah, I just feel at home the Welsh should be good. Yeah, I've also gone for the 1-12 market here. And then I'll take the Welsh on the -6.5 as well. Warren Gatland hasn't been with the team the whole week. His father passed away, so he's been in New Zealand for the week. But I think he'll be back for the game. But yeah, I just can't take the Scots in Wales, so I'll go for the home team here. But I'm not very confident on this.
Well, before I bring Sean in on this one, yeah, I'm actually on the Welsh. I like the 6.5, but yeah, also not a game I'm getting particularly carried away with. I actually hear Gavin's comments about North v North at this time of the year is quite a strange combination. Rugabugger, what are you up to in this one?
Yeah, also I agree with Gavin there. It's not one that you must get involved in heavily. But looking at the teams, I see that one of the Sevens try scorers for Wales, he's one of their leading scorers, Luke Morgan. He's made the team for, I think that's his debut. And they got an exciting backline, Anscombe at 10, Hayden Parks, George North, Liam Halfpenny. So it's a good side. So that backline is, looking at the teams, it's the better side, home team. Yeah, you have to go with them. And I think the 1-12 probably the best value as well. But with Oracle not touching this one.
Right, you're not going to get involved in that game. Let's move on to the final international that we got priced up. Then it's Ireland up against Italy. Ireland at home, 28.5 point favourites. I'm on the Sunbet site at the moment. And Sean, staying with you, is there any interest in this one? I've seen quite a bit of chat about it on the Good for the Game forum. A lot of people saying Ireland not at full strength, but they may not need to be to put this Italian side away.
Yeah, I would be on Ireland on the minus. Just think that's a home team. Italy doesn't have much going for them. I think the Ireland players that are playing want to get into that side for the India tour, so they'll be playing with a bit more. At 28, it's too high to go big. So maybe if you want to shorten it and put it in an accumulator, take Wales for the win, take Ireland -21, something like that, just to get it's a smaller bet, but it's a nice little double that may get even money or something like that. That would be, if I was forced to play, that's what I'd do.
Right, well, there's an interesting post in the live chat from Good for the Game forum regular Brad Breath, who is based in the Northern Hemisphere. And this is something for Hendrik and I to think about. Scott's plus 6.5 for me, coming in under the radar and all but full strength. And Gatland has been quite open about the fact that he's not bothered about the result. And that's quite interesting. And Hendrik, I'll bring you in here. Listening to things like what the coaches say in the week in the lead up to the game. And we all know that coaches can also, especially for big games, they can try and throw you off track and as we were talking about earlier, divert attention. But this could potentially be a game where he really isn't that bothered about the results.
Yeah, I agree, Brent. When I read articles about rugby, I scroll down to just get to the pods that's in where they quote the coach. I just want to read what the coach is say, and I try and have a look at the team namings. If there's videos on Twitter, I like to hear what the coach says. It's very important. You get a feel of what type of game they'll play. It's also very important if you want to play on the points. So yeah, but like you said, he might be speaking the truth here, because there's not really much in this for him. It's not Six Nations, and it's they're more focused on the Southern Hemisphere teams at this stage. So yeah, I hear you there. Going to the Ireland-Italy game, the game is in Chicago, I see, so it's neutral ground. Both teams very under strength, full-on second-string teams here. I think I saw somewhere the Italians, the 15 they picked, I think it's something like 2 players that's left from the last game they played. So the Italians are full-on second-string, and then Ireland as well. But Ireland, they have good depth. For Leinster, Munster, and Ulster, Connacht, they've taken the pasting. Lots of players not playing for them this weekend because they have to. The first team players for Ireland are not playing, and now they've taken all the next best players as well. But yeah, Ireland, they have good depth. So I'm also going for the Irish on the minus here, but not big. Like also 1 unit bet here.
Right. Well. You can see how much attention I pay to this particular game. I just saw Ireland first and assumed they were at home. So this game taking place in Chicago. Am I right in saying, Hendrik, there was an Ireland that beat New Zealand in Chicago a couple of years back?
Boston.
That's correct, yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
so
yeah. And I see now Nigel Owens is the referee as well, so there might be a few points. I'm sure it will be an afternoon game as well. So we'll just have to check if the weather's good. I think we might get a few points in this game.
Right. Anyone else got anything to add on this game before we move on to Pro 14? And there's a deathly silence. Guys, that's the end of the internationals. Let's just perhaps wrap up the internationals. I'll just run through each of you, just with your best bet across the internationals. Sean?
Japan. Japan plus 37.5.
Japan plus 37.5. You can still get that at Hollywood. Gavin?
South Africa.
South Africa, just on the board.
Yep. On the board. Anything above, I don't know, anything above 9 to 10 is value in my opinion.
Right, and Hendrik?
I'm also going for the Japanese, Brent. It was tempting going for England. I really like England, but I like Japan more, so I'm also going for the Japanese plus 36.5. I've taken.
Yeah. I fancy the England to beat South Africa, but purely on price. I don't make that my best bet. I think Japanese there at 37.5. Certainly, if Hollywood have still got that up tonight, I'll label that up in the Good for the Game and newsletter as well, because that 37.5 probably not going to be around much longer. Well, guys, that's the end of the internationals. I don't think we'll spend too much time on the rest of the rugby. The Pro 14, the bookmakers have been quite slow to price up, but we do have a full house of fixtures, and both South African teams, interestingly enough, playing on Sunday. So, Hendrik, I'll start with you. I saw you did mention earlier you're not going to be getting too involved in Pro 14. Has anything caught your eye there?
Brent, with lots of teams being under strength, I was actually looking forward to backing a few, to getting involved here. But like you say, the bookmakers, they've been so slow. The first prices, handicaps and prices only came out today. So I haven't had a proper look. I'll probably have a proper look tomorrow and this evening. But I do fancy 2 South African teams. I saw just before we got onto the show now, I see the Cheetahs game has been priced up now. They're about 16 to 10 to win the game against Munster. And Munster are really under strength. Sean just said lots of the guys he doesn't recognize the guys. I don't recognize the tour party either. So I'll be on the Cheetahs to win the game at 16-10. And I'll also look to back the Kings against Leinster. I know Leinster is a very good team, but they are missing a lot of players. I saw the squad, the 2 squads Ireland have picked, and it's Leinster all over. So Leinster will be really stretched, and the Kings have been playing well. So I'll be looking to back both South African teams here. And that's all on the other games. Nothing for me on the other games so far.
Well, I must say, Henrik, you make a nice argument there, and you certainly got me looking out for those games now. Sean, Henrik makes a lot of sense with his talk on the South African sides, and you might get a big plus on the Kings, because even though Leinster under strength, I think bookmakers might struggle to sort of, underestimate them to the point where they actually give the Kings a shout in the game.
Yeah, I think with you, if it was just the Ireland team, it wouldn't be so depleted. But with the Ireland team playing, their first team not playing in this week, not allowed to play, and then the B team playing against Italy, it's a lot of play. I mean, that's 46 players that have to be taken from the Irish Union. So Munster actually staying at the hotel close to my work, and looking at the players, I honestly didn't recognize any of them today. So I was battling to see what team it was. And then just reading up on it, they've got 24 players that are missing this weekend. 9 of them from the international duty, and another 15 of them that are injured. So they are bare bones. And I think the Cheetahs, if the Cheetahs lost 38-0 to Munster earlier in the season, I think that's gonna, they'll still remember that. They're gonna want some revenge. It's gonna be in Bloem. It's gonna be fast. It's gonna be a lot of speed. I think 16-10 Cheetahs. That's power.
Right, but before I bring Gavin in, just a reminder to all of you to watch the GG Gaming Gone Mad show. There's a number of promotions there that are running for a day or two, so you didn't have to rush and do anything. But there is a first try scorer bonus for the England-South Africa game. If you can predict both England and South Africa's first try scorers, potentially 25,000 rands worth of free bets. And I know one guy will be entering is oraclerugby.com. But the question is, will Oracle be betting on the Pro 14? Because you didn't sound convinced early in the day, Gavin, but I've got a feeling that the likes of Henrik and Sean might just be swinging you.
Yeah. So I wrote a post last night on my site, and I said I wasn't going to touch the Pro 14, but, Henrik, sorry, I actually didn't consider the fact that the Cheetahs and the Kings were at home this weekend. I didn't look at the fixture list. I just knew that now that they, these Italy and Ireland and all of these guys are involved in games, and it's the November Internationals, end of year tours. So I got to say, I'm going to rethink the 2 home games for South Africa, the Cheetahs and Kings game. I have to agree with both of these guys. If I'm getting 16-10 about the Cheetahs winning on the board against some players, look, I don't even know the players, and if Ikes like Sean are telling us he doesn't know any of them and he's actually seen them walking around, I've got to say that 16-10 sounds like golden. Absolutely. Look, they won that game last week. They did all right. The Kings looked very good as well last week before losing. At one point, looked like they were going to win by more than 10, and they finally lost. But I think something's going right at the Kings. That small stadium definitely helped at the university. I don't know where they're playing.
There again.
They're playing there again. Playing there again. Yeah, that's good news. And I think any plus on the Kings and the Cheetahs at home against weak teams like this, at full strength teams, I'd probably go for the Cheetahs and the Kings at home. I'll probably will be having a strike on them. I don't, we're looking at this 16-10 and we're saying it's good. We don't even know what these European bookmakers are going to do. We might end up waking up at 10 o'clock tomorrow. Well, looking at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning on Friday and seeing we're getting +8. So I'd rather suggest that if you're going to have a go at the Cheetahs and the Kings, probably wait till tomorrow about lunchtime. I know that's when the money really starts to come in Europe. And I don't see these guys backing the Cheetahs and the Kings. They've had such poor form. If you got to think of yourself as a European, you're looking at the scores and the results in the table, and you're probably thinking these are mug teams and they're going to get smashed. But even the odd oak in Ireland or England or Scotland or Wales or whatever doesn't really know that all of those players are gone, and who knows? I think the value will be around about lunchtime tomorrow. I don't think it's quite there yet.
I'm not sure I agree with Gavin there, Henrik. He might well be spot on, but I've got a feeling if the 16-10, I think the shrewd punters will climb into that. It sounds as though Gavin doesn't rate the Europeans too highly.
No, the punters, yes, sure. But I don't know about those Europeans. I've seen some of these prices move badly the wrong way, and you don't understand why.
Yeah, no, I'm going to place my bet tonight on the Cheetahs. I think they'll come in to at least about 13-10 to win the game.
Were you getting the 16-10, Hendrik? Sorry if you mentioned it, I missed it.
16-10 at GG Gaming and 1.67 to 1 at Bet Exchange. So at this stage, I'll take my bet at Bet Exchange.
Okay, nice bets. But as you can see, Pro 14, no sense of going into too much detail, but we do like the South African teams on Sunday. Guys, thanks very much. Anything else jump out at you on the weekend? Not necessarily only from a rugby point of view, from a sports point of view. Sean, wrap up for us. 12-10 Liverpool at GG.
12-10 Liverpool. I know. I don't know what Gavin's been drinking tonight, because he said Liverpool aren't even going to score. So he can stick to the rugby. It's not a World Cup soccer, so he can't be involved here. So 12-10 Liverpool. We've got Arsenal's number. Arsenal haven't played anyone. They haven't played a big team. They went on a good run, but they lost to City, lost to Chelsea. Now they're playing another big side. So I think that Liverpool win this. 3-1, my prediction, but 12-10, perfect.
12-10 Liverpool there. Just to mention, those people asking about Couch Critic, where is he? We sent him away and we told him he's not allowed to come back until he's placed another winning bet. So we expect to just see him in 2019. Gavin, thanks very much for coming on the show. Any final thoughts from your side?
Yeah, Arsenal to win to 0. Yeah, look, I do have the odd Premiership bets. I don't spend a lot of money. In fact, I do quite well on PSL as well. I used to be one of the people that priced up PSL years ago, and I've always done well with that, especially with the draws. English Premiership, I'm okay. I'm probably down slightly over the years. I don't think I've made a lot of money on it. Probably lost a little bit. I do enjoy the big games, so yeah, I will be involved in that Arsenal game. I can't see any value in the 12-10 Liverpool. I'll be going Arsenal. And other than that, no, just rugby for me. Nothing else. Look, I'm looking at the cricket and I'm seeing Gary Cert. He had Australia. I don't know. I think South Africa threw that little practice match and against the President's 11. I don't think the President had anything to do with picking them. But anyway, I think South Africa will win that first game. And that's it. South Africa in the cricket, Arsenal to win to 0, and England on the South Africa on the board against England. Those are my bets for the weekend.
Excellent. Is that all right? Henrik, finish it off for us.
Yeah, Brent, as you know, 99% of my bets are on rugby, so I haven't got anything else. Just one small bet, Gavin, 2-10 to take some of that shopping back on Sunday.
Take it back on Sunday. Well, yeah, myself, I don't know how much sport I'll be watching this weekend. I have had a bet on Nick Watney in the golf. I have no idea if he's in teed off yet at 160 to 1. So if he's leading come late Sunday night, then I'm going to have a good weekend. Guys, thanks very much for joining us. It's been good having you on the show. Lots of rugby punting. And, of course, to the lads who come on the live chat, always good to have your contributions as well. You can stay tuned to the Good for the Game channel and find the link to the English Premier League show, because Chris Sturdy will be joining me to run through all the English Premier League fixtures, and that's at 10 o'clock this evening. Thanks very much for joining us, and don't forget to catch the GG Gaming show as well. Put yourself in line to win some nice vouchers. Thanks, everyone, and good punting.